And we're back after a long delay. What is going on? Can I hear myself on your end? Is that what I'm hearing? Okay, I can just. And we're back for another episode review thingamajig. Wait a minute. Off the cuff. Today was really weird for me. uh, we're another episode of Dragon Prince. Only Dragon Prince because the two shows we talk about went on a hiatus for 2 weeks because of the holiday. Just totally fine. Wait. No, don't you dare. Um, so I guess I'm gonna talk about Jaima really quick. I guess I had an interesting thing that kind of came to I guess my news thing about Dragon Ball. Um, apparently, so what's your thoughts on Turles, really quick, as we and you don't know who Turles is, in a Tree of Might, there was a Goku looking like character who had darker skin, but his hair was kind of like Goku's. But he was like a Saiyan that looked like Goku. And I think at the time it was mentioned that like lower class Saiyans all look like that. Is basically what they mentioned. Was like it just Turles in general. I don't know if you remember him.
Looks more like Raditz than Goku, doesn't it?
Turles?
Yeah.
Not from my memory of him. He looks like Goku. Yeah, he looks more like
Where
Goku to me.
is he canon? Is he a canon character?
Well, I'm not gonna get into any of that yet. I just wanted to see like what your thoughts on him.
I watched the Tree of Might movie, but I watched it like 15 years ago. I barely remember Turles.
Okay, so what made it to my news feed the first thing in the morning? Apparently, I don't know why this showed up on my phone, but it did. But people apparently the Tree of Might is one of those movies that people would deem as like one of the worst movies from the Dragon Ball movie series in general. Uh, but a lot of people don't understand like where it fits into the canon. Apparently this is supposed to take place during that period where Goku was on the ship heading towards Namek and he was training
Okay.
on the ship. So apparently this is apparently when that's supposed to happen. Um, but Akira had made mention. I guess before I get my opinion of Turles, well, at least what I want to talk about in general, as I was thinking about this earlier. But apparently, he says that the entire thing for Trey might have just happened in a dream that Goku had, and that like and apparently that's and this is apparently something he said in an interview. I think maybe many years ago at this point. I'm guessing. I wish I could find. I didn't get a chance to look into it because I had to go outside and shovel snow. I was out there for the rest of the day, but apparently that's what he said. He made mention of that, like Kara on his live might have made mention of that this is all a dream. And a lot of people didn't know exactly what that could have meant, or this is all in Goku's head. I think is what he said, but people didn't know what to make of it at the time.
Hmm.
But what actually got me thinking a little bit was like when I heard that, because I always had this really weird thing about like Terrell. I didn't understand him too much, or I didn't understand, like I didn't. Now it's like I didn't. It's not like I didn't like him. I just didn't care much for him, and I didn't completely understand the whole idea behind Turles. In any of the media that I've seen, it's cool that he's made a cameo in it, but he's not a character that's ever mentioned. And you think that like Vegeta would have made mention of a Saiyan at some point, called that name. That man looked like Goku, just off the cuff, maybe like just like maybe it wasn't anything that was meant to mean anything, but at least Vegeta would have known about him. But Vegeta never makes mention of him at all, and this kind of got me thinking about like the whole thing about like the this kind of gets spawned over what's going on with Daima, where they're fixing some things and filling plot holes. Uh, Turles fills an interesting little plot hole if you think about him differently. Um, what if this was all in Goku's head, right? What if Turles, when Goku was fighting him in his mind, What if Turles was just like some personification of Goku's Saiyan heritage that Goku was trying to work through, and by beating him, he overcame, I guess, any ill will or any ill feelings he had towards it. Because if you remember correctly, when Goku gets to the planet to Namek, he seems more okay, and with the whole idea of him being a Saiyan, he seems to accept it almost not instantaneously, but he seems more accepting of it. Because like when he gets introduced to the fact that he's an alien on Earth, he kind of just like, no, I'm not. I'm an Earthling, and like I was raised on this planet. Like I'm not one of you. But after he goes to Namek and comes back, he starts referring to himself as a Saiyan raised on planet Earth. I remember that being strange because it seemed like to me it was kind of a fast acceptance versus like a slow acceptance. But because Goku's really simple minded, I kind of just wrote it off. But like taking the Tree of Might movie into consideration, like what if like Turles was just Goku working through his issues of being a Saiyan, and him overcoming Turles because Turles looks like him to an extent. I mean, not 100%. Well, not actually screw 100%. He does look like him 100%. Turles just got like upswept hair in some places, weirdly enough. Um, and like Turles also seems to be kind of smug from when I remember him talking. And I don't know if like is like what is the vegetable that Turles' name is based off of? Like a rutabaga? Oh shoot, I'm an adult. Like, what is Turles? Turles?
It's according to the wiki, the slight difference in hairstyle that Turles has over Goku is given at least two devil's horns. The spikiness of his hair is excluded for Ghost Turtle's appearance in Dragon Ball Plan to Eradicate the Saiyans remake and some Dragon Ball's Heroes trailers, but Turles still has that in every other appearance. In the Dragon Ball comics, it's stated the reason that why Goku and Turles look alike is the facial patterns of each warrior are similar within the low rank Saiyans.
But we know that's not true because we at least within Broly that completely contradicts that because we see a lot of low ranked Saiyans. And the only reason why Bardock would look like Goku is because Bardock is Goku's father. And again, they don't make reference to Turles at all. Turles doesn't get a mention period beyond like the movie where we see him for the first time and only time, unless you count the appearances that he makes inside the games. Which I don't. But wait, what? Even virtually identical to Goku, they're slightly just two. Yeah, yeah, you just read that.
It looks like Turles means lettuce.
Kakarot means carrot, so huh? I think Kakarot means carrot. I thought that's what that was. Hold up.
Yes, Kakarot is carrot.
Okay. Oh, like I mean, like you say two devil's horns. I kind of, to me, gives credence to my theory that it's possible when Akira was talking about, and this also, I'm also just gonna lay this out so people don't think that I'm trying to like use circumstantial evidence to prove a theory. I understand Akira could have been covering his butt. He could have just been covering his butt because people didn't like the movie. I understand that, but I'm gonna take what he said at face value and just say that I honestly think if this was taken as Turles was in Goku's mind the entire time, and it would explain why Turles himself never got mentioned any place else because he doesn't exist. Um, and if he was only in Goku's mind, we never see him again. And Goku kind of goes from being calling himself an Earthling to like a Saiyan raised on Earth. Like to me, that's a sudden transition because like Goku seemed to favor and like being called an Earthling. He did this for a while until the Saiyan heritage thing came about, and then he changed his mind after defeating Frieza. Like I don't, and don't get me wrong, I'm pretty sure as buddy as Goku and Vegeta are at that time when Vegeta had begged him to fight as a Saiyan, Goku didn't like him all that much. Like, Goku only kept him around just in case he was gonna go evil again, and they could fight again at full power or wherever they want to fight. So like even Vegeta begging and pleading and crying, I don't think that would have changed Goku's perception on things. I think Goku was working through some stuff, and the Tree of Might movie, whatever you want to call it, fever dream that he was in. And I think if this is all supposed to be in Goku's mind, I think Turles was supposed to be evil representation of Goku in his mind. So if people wanted an evil Goku, Turles is your answer. Like Turles is your literal answer to that whole. What if Goku was evil? Turles. Now,
Not Goku,
unfortunately, huh?
not Goku Black or any of the other clones of Goku that show up.
Goku Black isn't exactly really evil Goku. He's just like Supreme Kai who took over Goku's body.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't really consider that an evil Goku. You could probably call that a clone Goku because technically speaking, that was a clone. I keep on doing quotation marks even though you can't see it, but technically speaking, that was a
Oh,
clone.
I can see them. I'm watching you.
That's kind of creepy. I need to turn off that camera you have somewhere stashed in my room. I need to find it first. Uh,
It's a
but
very disappointing camera because I keep thinking you get laid, but you never do.
wait, what the hell? I keep telling that camera one day. I never understood why, but I kept telling. But no, like, but seriously, that is the conclusion I have come to with Turles. Is I think if what Akira was right and him not trying to fix something because people didn't like the Tree of Might. I didn't know people didn't like the Tree of Might. I just don't have any real memory too much of it. I do remember the fight with him, but I also as a kid never completely had a viewpoint on Turles as a character. It's like it was a
Uh-huh.
random addition that looked like Goku and accepted the whole lower ranked Saiyans because at the time there was no like we didn't have a visual on like on what lower ranked Saiyans look like because like it was the stated that most Saiyans of that level look like Goku, and I always thought that was kind of a dumb explanation for us why Turles looked that way. I really did because it didn't make much sense to me because Raditz was also a low level Saiyan, but Raditz didn't look anything like Goku. Like, I mean, also it could also be attributed to Raditz's like long hair thing, but at the same time, as you think there'd be a lot more facial representation between him and Goku, he looked probably like more like Bardock than he looked like Goku in all like all reality to me. Now, some people probably
Yeah.
like say that he looks like the Goku and Raditz look the same. It's like I don't know. I really don't know. They don't really look that like to me, even though they're supposed to be siblings. But like this rat, but Kakarot, but Goku having a dream and having no real representation to show of like a Saiyan version of himself. Because again, like we know the whole Saiyan programming thing was a lie. Um, I don't know where that kind of came up, but like the whole idea that like Goku was programmed to destroy Earth when he was sent there, but then he hit his head and lost all that programming. Like, and we all know that was a lie because like in Broly, it was showing that Bardock and Gine shipped Goku off to that planet so they can protect him from Frieza destroying the planet. And they intended to go back after him to go get him and bring him back to the planet Vegeta, but it didn't. It didn't work out because both Bardock and Gine died. Well, Gine died. Bardock got sent to an alternate time. Got sent back into time to fight Lord Chill, which is also strange. And also the only instance of a race from Frieza's race that does not transform. By the way, I want to bring that up. It was just something I kind of wanted to hammer in on my side. It's like if that is the whole idea, then if that was supposed to be a dream, then like I would buy that Turles was just some embodiment of Goku in his brain.
I think you're really struggling to make the plot work of Dragon Ball.
I don't know. I mean, I feel like this makes it make at least make the movie make sense, kind of. Because what was the Tree of Might even about? I don't even remember. Because the Tree of Might doesn't ring a bell for me at all.
The Tree of Might. It was one of the better Dragon Ball movies, I think.
A lot of people apparently don't like it. Apparently, people say that it's like the worst movie of the Dragon Ball movies.
Really?
So like that's what I read. Like people did not like it that much.
There's a lot worse than that.
Name one.
I went through a video once with one of the major Dragon Ball Z vloggers, and I can't remember his name, Quaman. And Quaman did a separate video on every single one of the Dragon Ball movies. And I don't remember the names of some of the bad ones, but some of the bad ones were such freaking garbage.
I don't know. Maybe because I'm a shell. I don't remember the big, really bad Dragon Ball movies, but
It was a long time ago now that I watched them, but Quaman went through every single video. Every single movie made a video on it, and I watched every single video he made.
even if you think that I'm struggling to make the timeline work, I just like Turles doesn't make any sense because Turles doesn't get like Vegeta doesn't. We learned a lot. We learned a lot about what the Saiyans are like are from Vegeta, but Vegeta doesn't make any reference to the fact that like low level Saiyans are supposed to look like Goku. He never says this. I remember. I mean, I remember too much about like what he says, but from at least when I do remember, like the things that made sense is like Vegeta never makes that a definitive statement. Because I mean, Vegeta would know because he grew up on Planet Vegeta.
Yeah.
So like he never makes reference to that, and he never makes reference to a guy named Turles. I mean, though Goku never really brings him up, but that's the other issue that I have. It's like I feel like if he did exist, why didn't Goku ever ask him about it? I mean, even just in passing, about a guy named Turles. Like maybe it was like, hey, Vegeta, you know this guy named Turles? I don't know why. I just like this is name just floating around my brain. I can't get out of it. Bardock never says anything about it. Gine never says anything about it. Though the Gine doesn't have many appearances at all. She only makes an appearance in Dragon Ball Broly.
Yeah.
So Gine isn't really anywhere to have and the whole idea that all low level Saiyans look alike. I kind of find that BS because like, none of the Saiyans, at least in the Broly movie, looked like each other. Even the female ones, they all look different. Like different enough where I don't think a Saiyan running around like Turles. And on top of that, Turles, not to make a skin joke here, but I'm gonna make one. Turles' skin is darker than every other Saiyan I've seen. Even freaking Broly, who Broly was supposed to have a darker tint to him, but they fixed that. Like everything about Broly, I mean everything about Turles just being something that Goku made up in his brain just makes so much more sense about his existence.
Yeah. It's a good theory, I think. I mean that it was a dream or a headcanon that Goku had about something that happened,
I
but
mean the whole dream thing though, that was said by Akira himself. Like, and again, I want to say that he might have just been trying to cover up for a movie that people didn't like a lot. So that could have just been him trying to cover that up. But we can't ask him; he's dead now. But you know, man, I wish the Dragon Balls were real. We could just wish him back to life. Akira just
yeah.
minding his little business, eating a sandwich, and he gets wished back to life. He's just up there. He's like, oh, all the fans are looking at him, anticipating, like, am I alive? In total English, by the way. He gets wished back with the ability to speak Japanese and English.
Sweet.
That probably make things more confusing. Okay, oh, that's a small thing. Apparently, I didn't realize this either. I don't know where this was anywhere, but this is information that I find interesting and intriguing. That like it kind of got me thinking a little bit. Like, so you know Vegeta, right? Apparently, in Vegeta's initial like design, Vegeta was supposed to be quite considerably younger than Goku. It was the animators that made him older than Goku. Akira apparently this was a mistake that was made, then that got stuck with. He didn't tell the animators that was his initial, that was his initial point. That was his initial idea of what Vegeta was. Vegeta was supposed to be younger than Goku. With that in mind, do you think it was the right decision to make him older?
I think it makes sense for him to be a little bit older. He's always been a little bit more mature and like experienced than Goku. He can't be an infant.
Well, some people were saying like him being younger than Goku would add so many more plot holes because like apparently like Goku Vegeta couldn't have been born before like the Saiyan planet being exploded.
Right.
Though with that in mind, though, we don't know who Vegeta's mother is. She could have just been off-world, pregnant, knocked up. I don't know why she would be off-world, but I mean, hey, you never know. Okay, with that being said, we can talk really quick. Well, not really quick, but quick enough about Dragon Prince episode 3, season 7, the Glittering Bones. I wanted to start off this episode review with everything that happens in the episode makes me really upset that this is the final season. Um,
Yeah,
I hope what this is setting up for is like another series called The Dragon King. Um,
that would be great.
because
I
I
hope
mean it
the
makes sense,
animators.
right? Huh?
I hope the creators of Avatar and Dragon Prince go on to make something else just as good because right now they're doing a great job.
Well, I mean, I'm hearing that apparently they're there to works with something because they made something called the Avatar House or whatever like that a couple of years ago before like they even came back for the second half of the Dragon Prince series that they made. Um, apparently they worked on something. They were working on something, and apparently had some idea. Apparently there was a talking of like an Avatar movie about Zuko. There's been no for we have not seen anything about that if it's actually true or not. Um, if it is true, I'm actually excited to see more of Aang in the gang. Um, I don't know. And then there's talk about like we're going to see the next Avatar in the cycle, and apparently it's supposed to be twins. That's interesting to me in general. Just seeing two twins get having to share the Avatar responsibility, that'd be interesting.
It would be. Does that mean there'll be two avatars going forward in the future after that?
That doesn't have to be. I mean, just because like one time it happens in the cycle doesn't mean it'll happen again.
Well, if they reincarnate, there's two to reincarnate now.
No, I mean two people could just share the same soul, basically. They would have to make it make sense, and I'm pretty sure some people would go away unhappy with an explanation. But maybe what's really going on is that maybe there's two twins that are brought into existence, but like one of the kids have the Avatar power and the other one doesn't. That could create an interesting dynamic of like two siblings that grew up together. Because most of the time, twins grow up together and share everything. But like in this case, they can't share everything because one will have the responsibility of saving the Earth. And considering how big Boss Sing Se is.
Yeah,
So like it's one of those like okay, it'd be interesting to see if that's what's going to happen.
it'd be a good idea to have twins. I think that'd be really interesting. They'd have to be identical twins, not fraternal.
I don't remember anything I read about that. I remember just glancing over it like, oh, this is cool. Like they're gonna come back.
Yeah,
I do want them to
just if you get into the science of it, the reason they'd be twins is because one fertilized egg split into two. You know what I mean, and made two identical twins. But otherwise, it's just two eggs in the womb, and one is just like the brother or sister of the other one, just at the same time.
I just had an interesting idea. Like, what if like the kid to keep with the whole one soul thing that is integral part of how Avatar works because Avatar is only one person. But to keep up with the anomaly that is the whole Avatar cycle in the first place, and the anomaly being twins being born. Considering Korra broke up the Avatar cycle during her time period, I hope they actually reference that. If there's another series coming, I hope they do reference the fact that Korra breaking up the system maybe is what causes this. But what if like okay, the two twins were and they are the Avatar, but they're Avatar as one. Maybe only one can learn, air and fire, and the other one can only learn earth and water. But they had to work. They had to work in tandem to be the true Avatar, and maybe it's like the story is us following them as they're working together, trying to fix that, trying to work towards that whole single-minded goal of working together. But like again, siblings have their issues with each other sometimes. You know, somebody takes their candy or whatever like that. It'd be interesting to see a sibling rivalry born within the Avatar cycle. And
Hmm.
that they can keep the whole one soul thing. It's just one Avatar, but but two of them have separated the power strength that the power the Avatar holds. That way, when they do die, they can still keep with the whole one Avatar thing. They don't have to like continuously make two avatars. Now, unless they want to, maybe they do something to the avatar cycle that makes it so there's always twins being born. Who knows?
The idea of one of them, who would get the Avatar state if they were half and half like that?
Well, that's the thing. It'd be an interesting story to see them work together, possibly, and maybe. I mean, it'd be a dumb thing, but I feel like it would be accepted. Like, what if they just fused during the Avatar state? Like they're only one during the Avatar state, but after that they'll go back to being normal, and that way it solved that whole situation too. Granted, it'd be dumb, and people will probably have problems with that, but I mean, people had problems with Korra. I had problems with Aang. No one's gonna be happy. Not everybody's gonna be happy with a new Avatar.
What was your problems with Aang?
I think he was just too passive. Like I told you back when I was watching it, I didn't know how he was going to defeat Ozai with being the way he was. It's not like I thought him being a pacifist was a bad thing. I just didn't know how this was going to resolve with a pacifist. It was like one of those things like you could probably call the whole energy bending in Apple in Espel, but hey, you know,
He
it
kind of got lucky. He didn't have to make the decision.
like to me it was like I didn't know how they were going to work like with Aang being a pacifist. It's one of those things. It's like how is this going to work? He doesn't kill. He won't kill. He has never accidentally killed. I don't think at any point in the show Aang has ever killed anybody, accidental or on purpose. He nearly killed Katara with that firebending stunt, but I mean, thank goodness she was a waterbender to put out the fire. But other than that, he's like never actually killed anybody. Not that I could think. And he managed to stop Katara from killing because she was really close. Um, and I don't think Korra's killed anybody. Has she?
Probably not. I can't think of anything offhand. Korra seemed much more capable of it if necessary, though.
I mean, I think Aang was capable of it. He just didn't want to. I think anybody. I mean, I think anybody's capable of murder if put in the right circumstance. I think anybody's capable of murder. I actually truly believe that. Even the nicest person in the world could be pushed to the edge to pick up a weapon and kill. Why do you think people said that it's always the quiet ones that cause a lot of damage? It's true because they're left alone to their own devices for the most part, and sometimes just you can push the wrong button and boom, mash casualties.
Hmm.
And like
Fear the
and
wrath of a patient man.
hmm?
Fear the wrath of a patient man.
That's really scary. I guess speaking of patient, you've been really patient here because I know we are on a timetable. Uh, we can make this happen. So this episode pretty much picks up after everything that happened in the last episode, which again I'm concerned for Ezran. He does cry one time in this episode though it seems like he stops it immediately. So I'm still concerned. He actually hasn't grieved anything yet, and I suspect that maybe grieving might help him, and maybe not. Maybe it'll make things worse. I have no idea. Um, we learn a lot more about this world in the I think was it called the Mage War? I
The
think it
Mage
was the
Wars, yeah.
Mage. Huh?
The Mage Wars with an S, yeah.
Well, like we learned about the Mage Wars, which is insane. And I'm starting to think maybe this is what preceded Erebos' daughter giving a one human magic. I'm guessing, but then again, they kind of clarify that apparently there's a lot of apparently not Zadia, but like the land surrounding Zadia, but the humans lived, apparently had magic in it, and it apparently got used up. So it makes it seem like magic is definitely a finite resource, depending on where you are in that world, which is also insane. Which makes me think, wait, so humans had the ability for magic, and they lost it? Uh,
I don't know. It sounded like they were all using dark magic because they were killing off all the magical animals.
no, I don't think that's what they're implying. There might have been humans using dark magic, but I don't think all humans were using dark magic.
Can't be sure.
Cause I mean, look, the I I almost called her Ezrin's girlfriend. I guess at this point she might as well be. But the queen of I think it's Durin or whatever. She's like the kingdom of she. I don't even remember what she's the queen of actually. Um, but she brings them to a cave in Durin with this cave full of like magic fire crystals apparently that apparently they've been keeping secret from the rest of the world. That's gonna cause some conflict. um, but she probably there's apparently like a lot of things like that, like existing on the in the world where the humans are living, and apparently they just got used up. So it sounds like there was a lot more of whatever kind of crystal that was in that cave, because that cave was full of it. I'm actually kind of surprised at how much was in there. I was expecting maybe to be like a small like little deposit, maybe not the entire cave encased in it. It was like ridiculous, and they're somehow in there mining it and keeping a steady supply of like crystal to put on arrows and having their local magicians inscribing insignias on the arrows, to empower the crystal and whatnot. So when they fire them, it activates the magic in the arrow and it causes an explosion. I was
Yeah,
taking it.
that would do some damage to a dragon.
Yeah, she said that they definitely stop a dragon, which causes them some concern. But I was thinking as she was talking about like there was a lot more like things like that in the world where the humans were living, and that's what's pretty much like that was a finite resource, and then apparently the humans used it all. But apparently there's small caves all over that may be containing crystal like that, all over Zadia. I'm guessing so. And apparently they discovered a small cave of fire crystal. So I'm actually kind of curious what other crystal exists elsewhere. But then it brings the question is like, what we're missing a huge bit of piece we're missing a huge piece of history. And I guess it's always been the case, but I'm seeing it more now that we're missing a huge piece of like history with this world. When at least when it comes to that, the Mage War seems like an important thing.
Seems gigantic too.
So like the fact that humans had access to this magic ability, it may not be innate, but they had access to it. Like makes me wonder, like what exactly happened. Like and talking like how there's apparently mage not oligarchs but like mage kings stuff like that existing, and then other mages killing mages to get to claim the to claim the top, and apparently every time there was a new one there'll always be someone behind them trying to seek the power. I like I think it's a good example of human greed. Is pretty much what that looked like to me in hindsight. Yeah, no matter what happens, like someone else is gonna want what you have, and maybe a little bit of
Yeah,
avarice. But
and the whole thing feels like the whole storyline felt like almost like a Kino's journey story. Like Kino traveling to new land would hear a story very similar to that. I think.
okay, I managed to cork the Kino's journey thing. Managed to cork it. Yes, I'm
What?
still on that. I will not give up.
What the
No, no,
motorcycle?
no, don't do it. No, no, we're corking it. you don't need you don't need that everywhere on this podcast. But yeah, I mean, there's definitely a bigger story. Like, it's really clear now that like it makes me wonder, and I'm actually kind of curious. Also, like during like the little backstory we were seeing and the different types of mages with the different colors and stuff like that, did that not look like the Avatar cycle to you? or like the Avatar in general, like how there's different avatars during different regions, like fire, water, earth, and wind, kind of like it almost seemed like it mirrored that a little bit. Like at a, if I can just find it again, we'll be skipping back and forth because we can. We do what we want. Or at least I do what I want.
You
And we'll
love
talk
it.
about Claudia and Erebos. Oh yeah, and I forgot about the fire elves. I completely forgot about them. Like this woman right here at I guess it's like at like 1535. Like she reminded me of like the Water Tribe a little bit.
Let me see. I gotta look on your screen. Why did she remind you of Water Tribe? Because of the clothing?
Yeah, basically the clothing and also the darker skin. Because I think most of the Water Tribe were of darker skin or darker complexion. Like
That makes
I would
sense to me.
believe this would be a Water Tribe person.
That makes sense to me.
Like I was just reminded of the Avatar when I saw this. Specifically, I was reminded of Korra. If I'm being real about it, like I was reminded specifically of Korra.
Yeah, it does look a little bit like Korra.
Then you have this dude who I don't even know what he'd be aligned with, but at like 1529, it's just this guy with like whitish, silverish hair. He looks like a pirate. If I had to be real about it, but is that a dragon he's on top of? I'm
Some
just
sort of creature. I don't think it has to be a dragon just because it's big. Looks more like a caterpillar to me than a dragon.
I mean, caterpillars can be dragons. What do you got against caterpillar dragons?
What?
What you got against caterpillar dragons? If I can speak.
They don't exist. I don't believe in them. It's a scam. Fake news.
We don't start this. Don't start the freaking fake news thing on here. We don't need that. We don't need that. We don't need that in America. We don't need that in.
Yeah, well, we don't need news about fake news about caterpillars being dragons either.
Wait, are those Pegasus? Wait, what's happening?
There are two genders, Jeremy. There's caterpillar and dragon.
That completely did not go the way I was apparently expecting it to. Back to the show.
You can't be both.
I think some people like to talk to you about that. uh, but
And you can't switch once you're one of them. It's either caterpillar or dragon.
I think
That's
there's
all
some
there is to
people
it.
that I think would have like to disagree with you on that statement. Um, is that a? That's not a unicorn.
That's a Pegasus.
I noticed. I didn't
That's
see this.
that's when they were talking about how they killed off all the magical creatures.
Oh,
And I was
did they?
thinking for yeah, that's why I was thinking for spell components.
Mage warlords, wage bitter, bloody battles. For control of the lands they claimed. Oh, I didn't see that mage back there. That was like a sunfire elf. What in the world? I saw the light beam. I did not see where it was coming from. Okay, that was a mistake on my part. I did not see that. Their armies scoured the lands for magic and bled it dry. That doesn't seem like, at least that right there, that particular statement doesn't tells me that they were searching and killing creatures for it. Who's to say they even knew that they could do that? at this point. Part of me thinks like in a land abundant with magic, they wouldn't try to kill the creatures that are living there. But I could be completely wrong.
Well, right. The only reason I could think of that they'd be hunting down and killing the creatures is for spell components.
Okay, Netflix is calling that a unicorn.
It's not a unicorn, it's a Pegasus.
Netflix is calling that a unicorn.
Netflix is wrong. Unicorns don't have wings.
Actually, in some depictions, they do actually have wings. It's just the
That's a
horn
lie.
that's missing.
There are two genders. There's Pegasus and unicorn. You can't be both, and you have to be one or the other.
I think Netflix has a disagreement with you. And he hunted the magic creatures to extinction. Okay, this is where he said
No,
that.
honestly, I think Netflix is wrong there. I think whoever did the captioning was wrong there.
I
Does it
mean,
even have a
I
horn?
can't
I can't
disagree
see
with you.
from here.
Hmm?
Does it even have a horn?
That's why I can't disagree with you on that statement because I don't see. That looks like an ear, and that's definitely an ear. But I'm not lying either. Some of the pictures of unicorns, they do have wings. I'm not sure like what kind of unicorn that is, but in some depictions, unicorns are given wings.
Okay, but unicorn, the name unicorn means one horn. One corn horn.
No, I get what you're saying.
So
I'm just saying
if it
that
doesn't have a horn, it's not a unicorn,
you, sir, have a
even if it's a
corny
horse.
sense of humor.
Oh my god. Did you just say I have a horny sense of humor?
Corny. What is you?
Unicorn.
I'm
Corn means horn.
speaking into the microphone. Okay. But yeah, I know that's a Pegasus. At least from the viewpoint of that, that's definitely a Pegasus. Also, a Pegasus with 2 arrows in the butt. It used to be a flying horse till it took 2 arrows to the butt.
And now it just can't fly. If I had to
Hunted.
take 2 arrows, the butt would be a pretty good place to take them. I'm not saying there's any good place to take an arrow, but can you think of a better place to take 2 arrows than to the butt?
I mean, nowhere is a start.
I just said that. I said there's no good place to take an arrow, but if you had to, isn't the butt a good spot?
I don't. Maybe because there's a lot more meat back there, but still.
There's a lot more meat and a lot less vital organs and stuff.
You don't know that. What the biology of this particular creature had the heart in the butt area?
Because it looks like a horse, and it probably has the biology of a horse.
Okay, so they hunted magic creatures. I don't understand. I mean, this looks like dark magic. This dark arrow thing. Why would they hunt magical creatures unless that's what they're referring to as resources? But they're talking about like how the area was like bled dry of magical resources. How are there still magical creatures running around? Because we see them, like there's a lot of magical creatures like in certain areas.
In that region of the world is where the magical creatures were wiped out, not across the whole world.
But even with that state, like creatures still migrate. They have migration patterns. You think in some would just like completely emigrate to a new area that's empty. Like it wouldn't stay barren forever. I mean,
Well,
animals like adapt.
the land is also scorched and destroyed too.
I mean, it wouldn't stay scorched. I mean, I'm just thinking about like how nature finds a way. Like it grows on top of things. It doesn't stop. So, in my opinion, even if you were to torch an area, eventually it would, there'd be new life there eventually, unless like something happened traumatic where like nature is unable to. And in the world where there's magic, possibly, but like, I don't know. They didn't say that. But she also doesn't say dark magic either. That's the other thing I don't completely. It's not like she specifically says that the humans are using dark magic.
Well, if they were using dark magic and that's what scorched the land, then it would be poisoned and polluted pretty badly.
The wars only stopped when there was nothing left to fight for. The problem is, like, I don't get it. Like, the dark magic, I mean, dark magic, all in all, makes sense, I guess, than killing creatures, but the way she made it sound like they were talking about crystals and stuff like that, because she leads them into an entire cave of fire crystal. Like, that can't be that fire crystal cannot be the only thing that, like, that was discovered over there, right?
It
It,
could be one of the only things, though. There could be few things that were discovered.
but even, I don't know, it just, like, it just seems so. I guess this is where the knowledge, not lacking of knowledge, is really hurting me right now. It's like, I had nothing to fight the dark magic argument because they're killing things to get their stuff, their ghibli bits. Um, man, I don't. The dark magic. I had an argument like last season. The dark magic may not necessarily be dark magic. I'm starting to think that maybe the argument might be a whole lot more weight than I thought. Because something doesn't make sense. If they were just killing creatures, fine. But with the way she was talking about it, something there was more. There was a lot more to what they were pillaging for.
So what were they pillaging for? Control of the land?
When she was saying that they were fighting for their land that they were claiming, but like, but she said like some of the resources that each mage had stuff on it, like actual stuff like on the surface. Because the way they made it sound like nobody realized that there was this giant cave of fire crystal just sitting there. They only realized that just recently in recent day. How did something like that stay untouched for so long?
Plot
Is
hole?
my biggest problem, right? Huh? What?
Plot hole?
I hope not.
I mean, it's a complication of the plot that it's been there for so long, just sitting in an open cave.
There's got to be a reason for it. Like I feel like they may have a reason for it. I mean, not everything that doesn't have an answer right now necessarily means it's a plot hole. I think it only becomes a plot hole when it doesn't get addressed at all later.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not saying that this is going to get addressed. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying for right now, I wouldn't consider a cave full of a of a very powerful resource sitting there a plot hole right this minute, because it's not like they had to really address how was it sitting here for so long and nobody managed to discover it other than the people living by, like, because I think even a wanderer would like wander into a cave, and it's not like they would be wandering about looking for anything. They might just be looking for a cave to rest in, and you suddenly stumble upon a really powerful resource. And the way she was talking, it's only there was more caves like this one scattered all over the land where the humans used to live. And a land full of magic is something that, at least based on like the first season, sounds like it's something that doesn't really or should exist right now because humans can't use magic. But now, according to the Mage Wars, humans apparently have the ability to use magic, and they don't even call it dark magic; they just call it was magic. And based on those images we're seeing, it definitely wasn't light. It definitely wasn't dark magic. At least I could see. Maybe that guy with the arrow, maybe. But like the woman who looked like she might have been a Sunfire elf, I think that was just might just be because she's so far in the background, I can't tell or make out her features. Um, there was that woman who looked like who I said looked like somebody from the War tribe. Like these are humans fighting and duking out with magic. These weren't elves.
Well, we also know that even if they were, um, we know from the canon that a human can use magic if they have a one of those orbs.
Yeah, and that's what I thought. That's what she was leading them towards. But then she led them to a fire crystal.
But we do know that orbs, like one example of an orb being made, primal orb being made, was take the horn of a unicorn, grind it up, and then send it around the world, which isn't necessarily dark magic. It's just creating a primal orb. So we, and they said Erebos said that many mages felt died trying to create them and things like that. So there was a time when there were many mages trying to make primal orbs. So maybe they weren't using dark magic, but they were killing off creatures to make primal orbs.
I guess that would fill a lot of the questions I actually have. I mean, I definitely do remember. I do remember Erebos doing that. I mean, I feel, but didn't he like the way he was talking? It sounded like any orb. This is how you make any orb, is sending it across the world, which I thought was insane.
No, that was just that one orb, the moon
No, I
orb,
think he
right?
was saying that was how you make one, how you make a specific any orb. Is you put together resources to make it, but then you had to send it around the world to make it.
Yeah, I think that's just the moon orb. I think because we know that the air orb contained like a hurricane or a tornado or a storm in it, right?
Uh, they get a hurricane. I'm just looking something really. I hope I don't find anything I don't wanna. I just want to see how do you like how make.
10:58, my friend. I can go an extra 15 minutes so we don't have to cut the podcast short.
I'll make it quick. I just want to find. Wow, the term primal gem is literally like in all kinds of D&D stuff. Hope I don't need the entire. Well, that's weird. I'm very confused. So according at least to AI, when I typed in how you make a primal gem, um, they said you can get no warning when it happens either. I live again? Looks like it. Okay. Um, according to you cannot make it, and they are considered naturally occurring artifacts that act as conduits to the six primal sources of magic.
Well, we know that's not true from the show.
Let's look up primal stone
They're
on the.
making one right now in the series.
Yeah,
We
I
know
know.
it's not true.
I mean, the wiki might just be behind. Who knows? I mean, that was the AI, and the AI from Google pulls from information on the internet. So maybe it just hasn't been updated yet. Just looking up really quick. While I'm doing that, we could talk about really quick about I think what's next. We could